Is this game really that bad? I've heard and read people's opinions and decided to check out what this is all about. There has been talk of a troublesome saving system, whether if you should play solo or co-op, NPCs that behave weird, a difficult to use and clumsy inventory. I don't know, I decided to check out the game and see how it fares on the Nintendo Switch. Is it a problematic game or is it better than you might think? First, what is this game all about? You choose your character, a technician, a defender or offensive warrior. Then you head down into an open world infested with pink aliens. It's clear that it cannot be like this and all aliens must be eliminated immediately. To help you, you have a green map that indicates your goals and important places. And judging by the map, this is quite a large game with many places to explore. In the menu you can also get information about your hero's strengths and weaknesses and some background information. Here you can also see which weapons are available, but also items that have been found. For example, grenades, barbed wire and mines. The game also has a level up system and every time you reach a certain level you get access to new perks. This can mean more health, more shields or the ability to heal other players when you heal yourself. The menu also shows an overview of all missions, one's main mission and side mission. Personally, I think the menu system works well, but I understand those who complain about found items. If you want to get rid of them, you have to manually click on each item. So if you found, say, 20 items that you want to get rid of, you have to click 20 long clicks before they disappear. It can be perceived as boring. Another problem is when you find a weapon. If you accidentally pick up a worse weapon than the one you have, there is a risk that you lose your good weapon because you run away from it. I haven't found a feature to be able to lock a weapon. It would be great if that possibility exists, that I can make sure that I can't get rid of something I prefer to use. So to the question how the game is experienced on Nintendo Switch. There are problems, no doubt about it. The game suffers from stuttering, which unfortunately is far too noticeable and happens too often. It's like a constant stop and go effect. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. In the long run, it will be annoying. I saw another video where I assumed the game was played on PC with a decent computer. I didn't see any problems. It felt good for the eyes to see how well the game flowed. But on Nintendo Switch, it's the opposite. It's not unplayable, but barely playable. There are a couple of settings you can make that change how the game is experienced. For example, change the field of depth. But none of these settings seems to prevent the game from stuttering. Perhaps the game is first and foremost designed around playing co-op, that is up to 4 players at the same time, but if you want you can play alone. Possibly it might be more fun to share the experience together with someone else and get help from friends, but in my opinion I think that it actually works quite well to play solo. You choose your own pace. Since you're running around in an open world, it's not entirely wrong to take it easy. Study the map and see where you haven't been yet. In addition, the aim of the game is to complete various missions, mostly in the form of escorting some NPC or eliminating a nest of enemies. I would like to say that there is a risk that the design of the game can be perceived as monotonous in the long run. Usually you do the same thing over and over again, but at the same time it goes in line with the game's story. A world completely dominated by aliens. Most people have barricaded themselves in safe zones, and this is usually where you have to help others. Different characters need help with different things, but again, it usually ends with the same thing. Shoot down a number of enemies until everything calms down, which is usually followed by a new path being opened and the story can continue. I've heard about people's views on saving, and I'm partly inclined to agree. By interacting with a radio that can usually be found in a base camp, you can save your game. But sometimes it can be a long way between the different save stations, so you take a certain risk when you go out among all the enemies. Let's say you have been playing for 20 to 25 minutes and everything has worked well. Suddenly you fall into a tricky situation and die. Yeah, then you have to redo everything again. You lose 25 minutes of playing time, but at the same time it can be part of the game's charm, as if the game takes on a survival aspect. You can't go berserk without thinking. If you don't calculate with the risk of losing, that's exactly what risks happening, and you have to start all over again. But sure, maybe it would have been better if more save stations were available. If you play alone, there may be some benefit in taking help from various NPCs, that is, they help you fight. But they are also AI controlled, and here I perceive that there is a problem. Sometimes they feel like a burden rather than an asset. They are not that tactical, they die easily and run around in strange places, for example in line for enemy movements and attacks. Here I'm taking help from an NPC and I haven't played for more than 10 minutes. My follower has already died 3 times. This is clearly a burden and annoying. Instead of killing aliens, I have to focus on bringing him back to life. It would have been to the game's advantage if the followers were a little smarter, took less damage and placed themselves in safer places. The enemies are usually easy to eliminate because over time you probably learn their behavior and patterns. Some do jump attacks, others shoot slime, while others have shields and massive weapons. It can get a little bit boring in the long run as it becomes predictable. You walk around for hours slaughtering aliens, from minute 1 to minute 300. However, there are certain events that make everything more interesting. For example, knocking out certain objects while being attacked by aliens. It can actually be difficult and requires concentration that you stay alive while killing everything in your path. Broadly speaking, From Space is a mixed bag. The entertainment value can be high. It's quite fun exploring different zones, opening up new paths, slaughtering aliens and find new weapons. So far, everything is fine. It's not as bad as you might think, except that it gets a bit monotonous in the long run. But the real downside is that more save stations are probably needed, as well as a change in performance. The stuttering must stop for this to work properly. At the moment, it's a no-buy for the Nintendo Switch, but it seems to work much better on PC. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I review new games every week. See ya!